Call to order the Wednesday, April 3rd meeting of the Fairview City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Braun?
Here.
Councilor Creemeyer?
Here.
Councilor Barton Mullins?
Here.
Councilor Quimby?
Here.
Councilor Arnold?
Here.
Mayor Weatherby?
Here. And Councilor Owen is excused. Would you all rise while I lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. The next item is citizens wishing to speak on non-agenda items, and the first person, actually the only person so far, is Peter Tuomola. Peter, you come up and give your name and address, please.
My name is Peter Tuomola. I reside at 4805 Northeast 92nd Avenue, Portland, Oregon. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the farmers market, kind of simply because I'm not sure where I'm at with it. Right now, I know we're supposed to start 1 o'clock tomorrow, but last time I was here, I thought there was a lot of things resolved. Come to find out that not really. So I'm here, and I guess I'm looking for direction or information or what I should do or not.
Have you talked to our administrator? Because I'm unclear as to what the issue is.
Yes. But I guess we're kind of hung up on reduction or waiver of fees and a handful of other things. I'm sorry, right now I'm just lost.
Okay, well, if you're for profit, I'm not sure it fits under any criteria. Yes, Councilor Arnold.
Well, I was hoping, Peter, that you could be pretty specific with us, because I'd like to know what's going on and see how we might be able to help you. Having the farmers market is really important to this city, and I want to ensure that we're doing everything that we can to make that happen.
I guess I don't know how to answer that right now. Other than, are we green light to go? And am I paying the fees or not paying the fees for the permit? I know I'm not a nonprofit. I am supposed to be a sole proprietor for profit. But there's just so much of what we are and what we do and what's encapsulated what I do that I don't really fall under any particular entity. I'm not a special event. I'm a community event. We're designed to give back to the community, which I have done, and that was my promise to the council years ago. And to give those who don't have the means a helping hand up, which we have done. And I think that we've been, for the most part, pretty good. I can't think of the word. But we've always
Councilor Quimby.
Peter, we, as a council, received some limited information from staff about years that you didn't pay any fees and years that you paid $75, years that you paid the full $300 and then had half of it returned, and I guess last year you paid the full $300 and nothing was returned. And we have not had a chance yet to come up with a specific policy for you in particular. We were discussing earlier tonight special event policies. we, to be real honest, we just have not had a chance, and I'm wondering if we can't allow him to proceed tomorrow, and we're going to have to get together and make a decision as to what's going on, because the history doesn't give us it much help at all. It's all over the board from free to $75 to $150 to $300.
I
Please.
think I've got a pretty good idea of what came out of the checking book. In the beginning, the first year, there were no permit fees, and there was no license required. In fact, the council had voted that the permit fees would be waived because of what we were doing for the community. The second year, there were no permit fees. They had been waived. Didn't even ask for them to be waived. That was just part of the original agreement. And I purchased a business license. Seemed like that was the least I could do. And for years on down the road, a handful of years, I don't even remember anymore, it's been so many, but there were no permit fees. Then I was required, when Joe Gall had come into the administration, and the fees on his first season, or our first season together, there were no fees paid. License, yes, but no fees. The second year, I was told that I was being mandated to be a 501c status, nonprofit status, and that there would be fees, and they were $300, and I came to you and asked for a reduction in fees. You graciously agreed to a reduction of $150, and so I paid the balance. The third year, I ended up paying fees of $300. Nothing has ever been returned to me. I've never had a city check returned to me as any kind of refund or rebate, and been paying ever since. So we've gone from no fees to, I don't know what other businesses pay that are in the area, but I pay what has been asked of me.
Councilor
And
Prompt.
1 year,
Oh, sorry.
I was told, things are a little tough, don't think about coming and asking for a reduction in fees. So I did not. The only thing the city has put out, I did bring in a real fantastic musician 1 year, and the city administrator had agreed that the city would pay half, and it was a $600 bill. I paid $300 for the musician, the city paid the balance. It was a really good thing. It was a great musician. I had glad to have him here, but that was it.
Okay, Councilor Prompt.
Why don't you have a seat, Peter? Compose yourself.
I'm comfortable
Okay,
standing.
so I'm a little confused here because you're not expressing what you're really asking for, except between the lines you're saying you'd like a fee waiver. Is that correct?
That is correct.
A total fee waiver.
That would be nice.
Okay. You know, I've been a supporter of the farmers market over many years.
Absolutely.
I was instrumental in helping you get the farmers market back to Village Street here, which I think is important city event.
Agreed.
I think city fees should be based on actual or anticipated costs by the city. You're not a nonprofit. You're a business. I don't believe in handouts for business, government handouts. I would like to maybe allow you to open this Thursday without fees, but I think you need to express in more detail, either verbally or written, why you feel that you need to get a fee waiver. Because I think, I'm a business owner, there's a lot of business owners, I say free enterprise should stand on their own 2 feet and not get government handouts. That's my feeling.
Yeah,
It's a good feeling,
yeah.
and I agree with it.
I think that you offer something valuable for the city, The problem I have is if another person wants to have a garage sale and close off a street or whatever, how do we say no? Or if someone asks me, how did they do it? How come I can't do it? And what is the answer to that?
Difficult position to be in on that side of the podium. I understand.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Peter. Okay, next is City Administrator reports.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. I have a few updates for you. I wanted to let you know that the revised draft of the scope of work for the fire study was just received by the city, by Troutdale, who forwarded it on to us this afternoon at 4:30. So I have not had a chance to look at it at all or make any comments on it, but I will send that out to you probably tomorrow so that you can get a look at what's all in there and make sure that it incorporates anything that you know, are concerned about specifically. If it's not there, please let me know, and I will do what I need to do to try and get that placed back into it. But did want you to know that is moving forward. The April newsletters and the utility bills today, or yes, I guess on Monday. The spring cleanup is coming up, so I just wanted to encourage citizens to look next month for the coupon for spring cleanup. It will be in the utility bill as well. We do know that there are some groups who, where they live, their bill is condensed into one, so we are doing an extra outreach. Linda Wood in Public Works is doing that to ensure that those homes do get that coupon as well. So I want to encourage people, if you have any questions, concerns, don't hesitate to give City Hall a call. We'll help you. The larger items, we are telling, citizens are being recommended to call the Salvation Army for pickup, and we have that number for you. So if you have a couch or something like that that you need to get rid of, we do have a number for you to call. Other than that, the other items that I have to update you on is budget is obviously hot on our topic of work here. Reminders went out today to all budget committee members that the budget is coming, and packets will be delivered to budget committee members next Monday by 5 o'clock. So you will have those when you all get off work and don't have anything to read. You'll have that to keep you going. It will be available to the public via the city website, as well as it'll be available for viewing in the administration office, or it can be purchased. So, and that will be available Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. So feel free to access it one of those ways as well. Let's see. The budget's looking well, just to give you a heads up. It is improving, definitely, over our last several years. The economy is, you know, a lot of our revenues in general fund are based on economic-driven factors. So citizens going out and spending money, and how consumers drive the economy. So I'm proud to and happy to report that it's not near as negative as it has been in the past. So that's very refreshing, and I'm excited to get into those budget meetings. Also wanted to let you know that the Mayor's Visioning Committee met this week. Staff, Erica Fitzgerald is his staff liaison to that for the Mayor's Committee. And they have conducted a city tour, and they're going to, currently they are working on a community outreach plan, and we'll be working at their next meeting on drafting a survey in order to distribute to citizens, as well as we will post it on the city website as well. So be looking for that as well. It'll be on the front page of the city website, as well as on the Visioning web page, linked on the city website as well. So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to give me a call or contact Erica if you have any questions or concerns about that as well. And that is happy to entertain any questions you have for me.
Councilor Quimby.
I feel like we left the farmer's market thing unresolved.
Sure.
If there's no objection, I would like to suggest that we allow him to open up and work on whatever it is we're going to work on to figure out, you know, where we stand as far as any fee waivers. But I don't want to see him not open up after he's planned to open tomorrow. Anybody have any objection to him?
This isn't. We need to wait till we can. If you're going to ask for a motion, we need to wait on it.
I don't know if we even need a motion for that, but
Technically,
just allow them to open up tomorrow.
As the rules that we have as staff, unless we have direction from council to waive those fees, we would be directed to not allow him to have his event tomorrow. So what we would need is to have a motion from council to allow the event to happen for tomorrow, and to address the, either come back to you with a more direct request, whether that be, because the next meeting is May 1st or May 3rd, I think. Sorry, I don't have a calendar right in front of me. Hold on. May 1st. Sorry, I wanted to make sure it was correct.
So you're suggesting a motion under new business.
If you wish.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make one more point about that? Tonight, if you pass the ordinance on the street closures, you'll have the enforcement mechanism in place. So if the event is held, then some of the police issues and street closure issues. Granted, they haven't filled out the application that they're going to need to fill out, like per the code, but that might be something where you could waive them having to submit that application this first time, because it's obviously very last minute. So, and there's like a deadline, you're supposed to apply so many days in advance. So that's something that you could look at doing under the new business item, is having them move forward and then waiving their need to submit that application for this first event. And then hopefully the next time they meet, you'll have maybe more direction on the fee waiver issue too when they submit their application. So it's just a suggestion.
Is that it? No more reports?
Yes, I'm sorry. Chief Johnson had a brief report for you as well.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. 2 brief items. Hopefully you all saw the press release regarding the so-called grandparent scam. So this is just another reminder, especially to those in the television audience, that this is a scam that is taking place. For some reason, elderly individuals in Fairview seem to have been targeted. We're not sure why. We've had several cases, 2 came in one day, where several $1,000s have been bilked, and they've been conned into believing that their grandchild was in some type of jeopardy in Mexico, and they had to send them bail money or money to deal with and return to the United States. So they were giving false phone numbers. It's very easy to call back, get a number to verify, get a firm to verify, and easily that could have been verified that it was a scam. So just a reminder on that. Sadly, Fairview's been targeted. Secondly, we received a request from the Reynolds School District to reopen the school officer contract. We've heard rumblings that Reynolds was going to try to make some changes. That's obviously that's occurring, or they're going to attempt to make some changes. We're not sure what those are. We're in the process of trying to schedule a meeting, which will take place probably the week of April 15th. And so when we find out more, we'll let you know. But I believe there are some inequities as well, and I've alerted them that there's probably some discussion that needs to take place where Reynolds pays more of their fair share. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Councilor Quimby.
Chief, typically in the back of our council packets is a police blotter or the database sheets that tell us all about hours and tickets and all the other things. I didn't see that this time. Is that
because it's always the second council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilor Creameyer.
With the school district, does it just pertain to the resource officer up at the middle school that they want to reopen the contract?
No, it's my understanding that they're alerting all the jurisdictions that they want to change things. They have a new individual that came in from Ontario, and there were some differences in the way that they handled the school contract, and they think that they have some ideas that they want to implement about the way they did it in Ontario. Rumor has it one of them's a punch clock for the officer. Time clock. Punching in and punching out.
Okay, thank you.
We're not sure.
Councilor Brown.
Chief, do you have, is your department doing any preliminary planning for National Night Out?
Officer Singh's in the that process, she's been alerted to do that.
Great,
In fact, I
thanks.
think we've already registered, oh, Deborah's here, we've already registered and done some things like that.
Wonderful, thanks.
Thank you.
In fact, I think Councilor Creemeyer also gave some information for the FBI, so we'll have it, it'll be a good one.
Good. Marshal Service too.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
And that is all for us, Mayor.
Okay, all right. Mayor and committee reports. Councilor Crum.
Okay, I attended the February 21st Public Safety Advisory Committee meeting. Most of the meeting was taken up by reviewing proposals for options to fund an additional 1 to 2 police officers so we can meet ultimate council goal of 2 officers on duty 24/7. The Public Safety Advisory Committee is working through several options to eventually bring to council. They had 4 options that were proposed last night, combinations that night, combination including red light camera money and potential utility fee similar to what Gresham is doing. There was not a unanimous consensus among committee members on which one proposal was best, so that's where they're going to refine those and hopefully bring those to council at some point in the future. Yep, that's about it.
Thank you. Councilor Creemeyer.
The only thing I have this evening, Mayor, is I met with Samantha last week for our weekly meeting, and the issue of the microloan program came up, and conversations that her and I had with some things that Heather, our city attorney, is working on. We decided that with the upcoming budget meetings this month that we would just table the microloan program until after the budget process, so that way we could have time to look at it more. But with the budget this month, we just don't have the time to look at it, so we just tabled it for probably 30 to 60 days.
Okay, thank you. And Councilor Barton Mullins.
Yeah, I went to Emuctuck on Monday, and I just want to clarify a few things. We had talked about a crosswalk on Halsey for the Oak Woods apartments. That's already being taken care of. They are going to be working on it in the fall of 2013. It's going to look similar to the crosswalks with the flashing lights that you see around Gresham on Arata Road, and then going through Halsey. Anyway, so those will be started work on in the fall. Also, they had a plan, Metro Multnomah County had a plan to fix Highway 26 out by Stone Road and make right turn, the right turn signals. Everybody was going to have to go right. Nobody could go into Gresham. There was so much opposition to it that they have canceled that project altogether. And what they're going to do instead is coordinate all of the signals throughout Gresham and Fairview and looks like Wood Village. So Highway 26 or Burnside is going to have them, and also in Fairview. It looks like we're going to have coordinating signals on Gleason, Halsey, and possibly one at the I-84 207th interchange. So there is a light here that we're not sure what it is supposed to mean, but they have a light at Market and Gleason, and there isn't a light there now. So I need to look into that further and get back to you if they're really proposing to put that in. And that is going to, they'll be doing the design work this year, and they will start to build that in 2014. And in between the STIP and the MTIP and the CIPP, which is the Capital Improvement Project, it looks like almost all of Sandy Boulevard will be taken care of, and redone between 2014 and 2018. So that's exciting. That's it.
Council, thank you. Councilor Quimby.
I have a couple of things. First one, Sam, I forgot when you were giving your report. You told us in your weekly update recently that activity has increased in building, but we didn't get any statistics. It doesn't have to be anything as fancy as what the police department gives us, but it would be nice to know who's applying for permits and what type of permits they are. You know, it's been pretty slow for a few years, but if it's picking up, it would be nice to be able to take a look at and see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've
What
started
type of building?
that research project. I can tell you, I actually have it right in front of me. I can tell you that we've had 6 new houses in this year. Last year we had 3. Several years prior to that we had 0, so that's definitely picking up. We have a subdivision that is looking at, they did a pre-app meeting, so there's initial discussions as well. I don't know the details on that, I just know that they met. Devery could probably tell you more than I could. There have been 171 permits this year. A majority, those are split between residential permits versus commercial and different types of commercial. But I will gather all of that into a very nice statistical analysis and send that out to you. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm curious, the subdivision, where would that be located?
I don't know. That Alan
Okay.
just told me they came in and talked to him, and they did a pre-application, which means they kind of come in and look at, what's available
Sure.
and what the requirements would be and that kind of thing. So as soon as I know any more, I will check with him. I can check with Devery tomorrow and get all the details and find out for you.
Okay, thanks. The second thing is, the Thursday after our last meeting, we had the first Park and Recreation Committee meeting, and we elected a chair, and we discussed a few things. One, the sort of a recap of park or the Salish Ponds parks and what was done there, the upgrades. I toured there with Lindsay and Alan Friday last week, or the week before, and so I got to see up close, and I walked around there this weekend and saw even closer. We also discussed the next big project, which is going to be Park Leon, and the updated or revised, improved master plan. We talked about the potential of checking with the neighbors to see what kind of facilities they would like there. We talked about the community gardening, the plot that's there, and is it big enough? Can we improve on that? As you can see on the wall over here, there's an aerial view of Park Leon, and the center strip in between the rows of houses is where a creek used to be, and it's all plumbed underground now and comes out in the park itself. So there's a lot of unutilized space that we were tossing around the idea of maybe making some of that community garden if our waiting line is too long for the little plot that's there. What is there now is just the top of the right cul-de-sac, the little brown spot there on the map is what it's limited to right now. And without going through the full plan with the Parks Committee of revising that and getting input from the citizens around there, one thing that is in process is the replacement of the equipment that was taken out. And I'm going to discuss some of that under new business and talk about the ideas. And I have a representative from a playground equipment company that met with Alan and Lindsay and I, and so I'll get to that under new business. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Arnold.
So on the 22nd, I had the opportunity to meet with Alan and Beth Kay from the HEAL campaign, and we had a great meeting. We got through about half of our policies with regard to this campaign, which is healthy eating and active living, and how we might be able to apply those to the city. So out of that will come a resolution that you all will be seeing very soon on our upcoming agenda about how we might incorporate some of those ideas into our city, which goes along very well with our parks and recreation and so forth. And for those citizens that maybe aren't aware of the fact that we actually, back in 2001, did a Parks Master Plan that included a recreational plan. And I've gone through the recreational plan in great detail, and to my knowledge, very little, if anything, has been implemented from that. So I'm going to take that as a personal mission to try and move forward and do as much as we can with as little money as we can. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then just more or less some comments. I was wondering, you mentioned that we do have our budget committee coming up in order to help facilitate the public being aware of our budgetary issues. I think it would really be helpful if we could place the auditor's report on the website as in a PDF along with our current budget. I think it would really be helpful for the citizens to see that. In addition, if we could also bring back the full counselor packets on the website along with the agenda. And if we could also keep those up on the website, I think that would really be helpful to our citizens.
Absolutely. The auditor's report is actually on the website. Perfect. It's under Finance Department, so you can always access
Okay.
those.
All right, very good. Thank you.
I will do a double link.
Thank you.
So, and at the present time, I have nothing to report. Thank you. Next is new council business discussion, and Councilor Quinby.
Two things. One that just came up is the farmer's market, and so I would at this time move that we allow the farmer's market to open tomorrow and the additional Thursday, since it's a while before we get to another council meeting, and allow him to open up. So I'm not sure how to wordsmith that, but I guess I moved to allow the farmer's market to open until we're able to make a council decision on any fee waivers.
Councilor Prom.
I would like to second
We need
that,
to
but I
second
think
that.
we need to move that to give them a waiver for 4 weeks,
For 4 weeks, so,
because for our next council meeting is going to be a month from now.
okay. So moved.
And it's been seconded. Question I have is, why wouldn't this be, the motion be made contingent upon payment of fees as are per usual? And then a discount can be made if the council decides to, and give a discount. Otherwise, we're basically saying it's free.
Well, because our per usual isn't usual. It's been different every year, other than the majority of the time he was charged nothing.
Well, I mean, if anyone, I'm talking about any business wanted to have those. And if we don't discern between that, or what we could do is go back to the last fee, but I'm not sure, to me it wasn't explained why a fee wasn't paid, because there is a fee. Am I correct or incorrect?
Incorrect about why he
Fees.
did or did not pay.
Fees.
Yes, there's historically, looking at the records, there were fees that were not charged, or there's nothing that I could discern or find to rationally explain as a policy, but there were fees, they just were not charged.
Okay, Councilor Barton Mullins.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing that the mayor did. I believe that those couple of years when there weren't any fees paid is when we were working with Peter to become a 501c3. And for some reason, I don't remember, it was when Joe was here, he was demanded to become a nonprofit. And I believe at that point, or those couple of years, we weren't charging him then. He is now a for-profit. And anyway, I believe he should pay the fees, and I think we can take care of that tonight too. I don't see any reason not to.
Okay, Councilor Kremeyer.
I think one of the issues that we need to really look at and address is, when we're talking about the fees for this issue, is are we going to charge Peter every week for a street closure permit fee, or are we going to do it as a one-time fee for the whole season? I think that, right now we don't have a policy on that from what I see and what I hear. So I think we need to determine if we're going to waive all the fees, or if we're going to charge him a one-time fee for the whole season, or if we're going to charge them on a weekly basis. I think that we need to come up with a policy on what we're going to do, and you know, that way anybody else that wants to do it going forward, you know, we're all on the same level playing field. I'm a huge proponent of the farmers market here, and I think I would really like to see it open up, you know, tomorrow also. But I think that we as a council need to come up with a decision and a policy if it's going to be free, if it's going to be a one-time fee, or if it's going to be a weekly ongoing fee. So
I heard a couple of things that I was curious about. The term fees, as in plural, more than one, but I heard the one $300 fee. So I don't know what all other fees were involved or being asked to waive. I haven't seen a formal request from Peter as far as exactly what fees and what they are. I haven't seen an answer from the city as far as what fees are being offered or are applicable or being offered to be waived or reduced. And I thought I heard something about he hasn't applied for anything as far as even having the market. So I'm totally lost, and I'm not against having a discussion about fees or fee waivers, what's applicable, what's not, what we want to let him do or don't do, or how much he's going to pay. That's why my motion is to allow him to open for however many weeks it is until our next meeting, and we can get this ironed out and figure out what we do want to do for policy. It's just in the interest of saving time in tonight's meeting was the only reason I didn't want to include fees at all. Just allow him to open.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I have no problem allowing him to open, but I think it should be contingent on him paying fees no different than any other person who were to come up and ask for the same thing. In other words, if John Jones came up and said, I want to close it off because I want to sell some used cars, and I don't like to say, well, you can't do it because we have other people who they do something else, but we have different criteria for different people. I mean, as much as I like the farmer's market, I think we have the sense of fairness demands we do something. I understand that. And I think that I have no problem, I think we should hold back letting Peter do it. I just think it should be contingent on, certainly our administrator knows what the fee should be. I mean, if John Jones came up and wanted to stop the street, do we not have a fee for him? If he wanted to sell cars there?
No, we do.
Right.
Okay, again, my motion is not to waive any fees at this time. My motion is just to allow him to open. If it's contingent upon review of what fees he's asked to be waived or what fees are applicable, that's completely different. I just didn't want to prevent him from being able to open tomorrow because that's cutting it really short. So that's my motion.
You could also just make it contingent on him submitting the application, the full special events, street closure, parking application with any fee waiver requests that he has. So, you know, he can open, but he still has to submit all of that paperwork in the understanding that, you know, going forward, you know, I mean, even just for that event, there are certain things that have to happen in order for the streets to be closed and no parking to be enforced. You know, you have to give notice to people that they can't park there, you know, things like that. I think that might be the best way to go forward, and not saying that you're waiving any fees, but just until the next meeting, you know, we have to get this paperwork in, and then the city council will consider if there's any, you know, what fee structure they want to use for these types of events.
Well, let me ask, didn't Peter turn in the forms asking to have it?
Yes, Peter has submitted all of the current forms that we have, and he has submitted all of the accurate forms that we requested of him. So he has done that. We did ask, when I spoke with Peter last week, I did ask him to submit in writing a fee waiver request so that I could submit it to you tonight. He called me on Monday and stated he was not able to get that to me. He wasn't able to bring it in. He had computer issues. He wasn't going to be able to get it to me. I said, well, can you get it to me tomorrow? He did not believe he would be able to do so. I said, well, then I do need you, if you want a fee waiver request, I do need you to come in and request it of council because I don't have that authority to waive that fee. So that's how that transpired. And so these fees that we have identified to go with his event have been identified, and he is aware of them. And like I said, he did fill all of his paperwork. We actually, as staff, normally we would not route things until we have received payment. But we did, because we know we're under a timeline for him, and we wanted to make sure that tomorrow we had everything in line that we needed to have in line for him. So we have done that. So the only thing pending at this point is some final dotting the i's and crossing the t's tomorrow for the permits, but it's the fee. So.
And what is the total of the permit
fees?
fees?
There's the temporary use permit, which is $300. There's a street closure permit of $25. Historically, we've tied the street closure to the event. So his event request for a temporary use permit actually requests a series of dates from a particular time to a particular time. And we tie that street closure to that temporary use, and it's a one-time fee. So the temporary use would be one time, the street closure is a one-time fee for all of those subsequent, because it's considered one event, it's just kind of happening over a period of time. We have an amplified sound permit if you were to have a band, if that was needed per our code, and that's $30. He's also asked to use the city right-of-way. Our city code does not allow for signs in the public right-of-way, and he is asked to use the public right-of-way in order to place his signs. So again, that's a $75 fee for the use of the right-of-way. We have waived that in the past for different groups, so that's, you know, just as a historical information.
Okay, Councilor Barton Mullins.
I read that thing that it came to us about the farmer's market in one of your letters. Isn't it my understanding from that that if he doesn't pay these fees or the parking fee, that the police department is not able to do their job if he doesn't pay the fee?
It's basically what he's going to need to do is make sure that he notices that there's no parking, so that you have to do it so much in advance. You can't just come 5 minutes before and put up a sign
Right.
and say no parking.
Right.
So it's just a matter of meeting those guidelines. Then the police can go in and say, the sign was here, it's been there for, 24 hours, and, you're not supposed to be parked there. So the police can enforce, the no parking. So I don't, from that perspective, I believe that's more important from an enforcement perspective, but I don't know about the monetarily, if they need that money.
That's just what I thought I got from that. No? Okay, thanks.
Okay, Councilor Arnold.
I just wanted to amend the motion to include street closure permit application timeframe be waived.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Okay, any further discussion? Can we repeat, can the motion be restated, please?
We need to vote on the amendment first.
Oh, he wanted you to restate your motion, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
I can restate my section,
Mm-hmm.
and mine is street closure permit application timeframe be waived effective tomorrow.
Okay, and can the main motion be?
I move to allow the opening of the farmer's market per the application, including the amendment, to apply the time frame until such time as we as a council can discuss any potential fee waivers for a period of not to exceed 30 days.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of,
What are you voting on?
We need to vote on the amended motion.
yeah, the amendment.
Okay.
All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
No.
Okay, it is 4-2. Now, is there any further discussion on the main motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I opposed. Nay. So that is 5-1. Okay. Next.
We're still on new business. I have 2 points.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Need to catch my breath after that one. As long as I have been on city council, I think I have pushed to put recreation in parks and recreation. Several years ago, it was a council goal. I don't know that it has ever been improved upon a lot. I'm well aware that equipment in Park Cleon was removed due to being dilapidated beyond the ability to repair. As I stated earlier, I am the council liaison to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. I have pushed for accelerated replacement of the equipment that was removed from Park Cleon outside of the standard Park and Recreation Committee's advice as far as updating or improving the master plan for Park Cleon. Again, that's an aerial view of it on the wall over there. In the audience tonight, we have a sales representative from an organization that gave a presentation to Parks Director Alan Berry and Lindsay Nesbitt and myself. We looked at what will fit in that park and what the hot seller is for park equipment right now for kids, and will that work for us? And we believe that something was picked out that's adequate. Martha, can I get you to come up to a microphone and introduce yourself?
Okay, this is for council discussion.
This is new business.
Right, do you have a motion?
I will have a motion, yes. This is background on it.
Okay, could we have a motion, then we'll bring her up.
Okay. Well, it's going to sound kind of funny without any background information, but basically what I would like to do in the interest of saving the city some costs of $7,000 in shipping is, in addition to staff-driven replacement of equipment for Park Cleon, I would like to propose that we replace or we add equipment equal to it in the Lakeshore Park on the south side of Fairview Lake by spending reserve money.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay, would this individual please come forward and give their name and address?
Hi, I'm Martha Gady, 8052 Southwest Kingfisher Way, Durham, Oregon, 97224.
Okay. Did you, by chance, have
I have
cups?
a report.
I'd like the council to see what this equipment looks like. It's basically called the Tree Fort. It has a bunch of different stations with different things for kids. It's got a 4-foot rock attachment. It's got some spiderweb type climbing wall. It's got 2 slides, a couple of fort houses, climbing sections. It's just a phenomenal piece of equipment that I think kids are going to love. And this is basically is happening staff-driven for Park Cleon. My thought was that we could save ourselves $7,000 in shipping by duplicating this order for the second park. There's a requirement of digging away 16-inch depth of dirt for this area and filling it with wood chips. And so I was thinking, while the city is in the mode of prepping land for this and assembling this equipment and paying to ship it here, that we might as well cut the shipping in half. At this time, and Martha can address this maybe better than me as far as numbers and the details,
What second park?
South
South.
Shore Park. It's the end of 218th, runs into the south side of Fairview Lake, has a little boat ramp and a wetland nature area off to the west end of it, and the whole east end of it has nothing but a cement circle and a bunch of bare grass. Basically, on the north side of Fairview Lake, there is absolutely nothing in any park anywhere for any kids to play on. On the south side, we have some equipment that's tailored to smaller children in Pelfrey Park, but absolutely nothing in the area with all the homes for kids to play on in this park. And we do have system development charge money setting aside, almost $250,000. Originally, there was a thought that it would be applied towards a skate park, but I'm thinking that the way that's been tossed around and no location identified for that's been able to work, that we might be able to do something that's going to benefit some more kids right now by changing the allocation of that to this equipment and save $7,000 in shipping at the same time. Now, there's a state program where actually, let me back up a little bit, we, I believe, are required by law to go out for bidding process. And so there's this company, and I'm sorry I forgot the name of it,
Playcore.
has pre-qualified with the state, and I think Martha could address that better, in that it's a program that's set up to where, I think I just better let you explain that part of it, if you could, please.
It's the State of Oregon procurement contract, and different equipment. You can get farming equipment, John Deere tractors are on the state contract, and they have a whole list of playground manufacturers that are on the state contract. And I work for Playcore, which is a corporation that manufactures playground equipment, and two of our lines are Big Toys and Plain Park, which are both in the proposed design that we talked about, and they're both on the state contract. So what this does is it allows you to not have to go out to bid because the state has done the bidding process. They collect a lot of information from the manufacturers, they have to be approved, and they do the work so that you're able to buy right off the contract. And what that means for you, in addition to not having to go out to bid, is a discount off of the price of the equipment as well.
What are we talking about for price? Shipping included?
The shipping, we'd be charged for one full truckload, and I believe you said it was coming from Georgia?
It comes from Alabama.
Alabama. It's $7,000 in shipping for whether it's one or two complete units. So that's where we can, if we do the second part now, we're saving $7,000 in shipping. The discount from the State of Oregon contract process saves us $26,385 on the equipment itself for this tree fort structure. We're also looking at a 3-bay or 2-bay standard style swing set. And savings on that would be a little over $200 for a 2-bay or a little over $300 for a 3-bay. So to me, I think it's a great idea.
And you're still not telling us how much it costs. You're telling us what the savings are.
Right.
I have the quote back here, if I can spread
with a 2-bay swing set and the tree fort that's on the display, you're looking at $57,462. With a 3-bay, you're looking at $58,557.
This is for two and the shipping?
This is for one.
And no shipping?
And so you double it plus 7,000.
Correct.
And you want this to come from the general fund?
Contingency.
I would like to see it come from contingency funds. Way more than enough has been identified in needs in Park Cleon to eat up the almost I think it was $230-something thousand for the improvements there. And so I would like to take a look at, and I would propose in my motion to take money from reserves beyond our 6-month identified need of reserve money and take advantage of this $7,000 savings at this time.
I would recommend that before you proceed, that you have first of all, you need to make sure that the contract meets the piggybacking. It's called piggybacking. It's a term that's used for state contracts. And that you have a resolution that you bring back before the council that basically sets out that criteria, state law, to show that you've met that criteria. That's how I would proceed here, because you do need to make sure that you have proof that you've complied with the state contracting laws. So that would be my advice and how the council proceeds.
Yeah, I'm not ready to vote on this tonight without looking at it better and looking at costs and looking at budgets and all that kind of stuff. You know, this is just thrown at us tonight.
Sure.
And I would certainly like, you know, I don't have any objection to playground equipment, obviously, but I'd like to think about it and look at it and have at least 5 minutes to process it.
This may help you a little bit in that staff is authorized to take this much money already for replacement for the equipment that was removed. It's not a council decision.
How much? The 58,000?
The quote's right there on your counter.
Oh, 63,000.
That's with the shipping, with the freight. And that's a staff decision outside of council decision that's occurring.
The staff has already okayed 63,000?
Well, that's in process.
Sam, can you speak to that?
Alan's on vacation this week, so
Yeah,
I'm
Alan has
sorry
not
that
made
he's
a
not here
request.
to answer questions. There's almost $250,000 sitting there for this type of expenditure.
Okay, I still think we need more time to look at this then.
Well,
If we're going to spend
this part is
over $125,000.
Okay, let me, first of all, I think there's a process, internal process for approving payments, and I think it's anything over 5,000 has to become for council, isn't that correct? And also, anything coming from Alan would go through you too, isn't that correct, Samantha?
Correct.
Good. One of the things I think we do obviously need playground equipment. I'm also concerned that we spend an amount pretty close to that on some things as the gazebo and upgrading the general park down there in Park Cleone, but I think there is a process. And so what I would like to do is, following our attorney's recommendation, is to table this until the next meeting. And if Sam, if you and our attorney can work together and get all the different papers and anything necessary and send it out in ahead of time to the council so we can deliberate it on this completely. Okay?
We'll need a motion for that.
Do I need to do anything more to table this?
Yes, we'll need a motion to table.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Do I hear a second? So there's no second to table this. Ah, I see. Not bad advice from our attorney, eh?
Well, I need to clarify this some more. One, I apologize that Alan's not here to help me out with this, so I am kind of going cold turkey. I'm under the understanding that there is a sale that's ending on this. Could you help me out with that, Martha? Did I hear that wrong in our meeting a couple weeks ago?
That would be instead of using the state contract.
Instead of using it, okay, so the price is good under the state, and that is something that I haven't checked on. The only reason I brought this up tonight was to try to save us $7,000 in shipping. We would need to be partnered with the state in this program. I don't know if we are already. Apparently, it's not just for playground equipment. It's for everything else that cities or municipalities use, that they use a bidding process for. So I don't know, Sam, are we?
We do currently, we do have that access.
Okay,
We
so
do.
we are dialed in with that. And
Right.
does that address your question, Heather?
I don't have enough information to make a decision, so I would need to do more research on it.
Well, it seems like either we are or we aren't.
I mean, I would have to look at the state law to make sure that we were, and I don't have any information about this, so I cannot make a determination. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Councilor Prom?
Councilor Quimby, I'm a little unclear on who has approved this playground equipment, this particular pieces of equipment.
Alan Berry has and Lindsay Nesbitt.
What about the Parks Committee members?
Well, this is nothing to, this is replacement of equipment that was removed.
I understand, but I'm just wondering,
This
okay,
is outside.
this is the best equipment? We've vetted this and say, hey, this is the best equipment we can get for our money? Or is this exactly what we want for those parks?
At this time, the Parks Committee is going to be bringing up a master plan, which will include all sorts of possible improvements, from expanding parking to expanding the community garden to multiple other ideas that are yet to be determined by Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. This doesn't interfere with that. This solely replaces equipment that was removed.
Right, but my question was, is this, people have decided this is the pieces we want. There are no other pieces in the market that we want besides this one.
Well, there's two things, the swing set as well as this fort. It was determined by Alan and Lindsay and myself that this would fit the bill. It did not go to Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee because it's outside the scope of what they plan to do as far as a master plan upgrade. And like I said, the only reason I'm bringing this forward at this time was to try to save us $7,000. If you want to go, plus the time frame, I would like to see something in that park for kids this summer. When Alan went over the process of what it's going to take and to get it assembled or get it manufactured, get it shipped here, get it assembled and installed correctly, we were looking at a timeline of the first week of July, which is kids are already out of school for 2 to 3 weeks. If that is something that Parks and Recreation Committee wants to look at, they certainly can, but it was determined that this replacement of removed equipment was outside the scope of an updated master plan and didn't interfere with any decisions that they might make. Does that answer it?
Sort of. Okay.
So I'm curious, are you?
No, I think that getting it in as quickly as possible is good, but I just wanted to know, who picked it, basically. And you said 3 people picked this and said this is it. This is the stuff.
Well,
and I'm just,
$100,000
ain't, is a small change. And if this is the greatest equipment, then everybody's decided, then I'm all for it. But I don't.
Martha,
I don't know if it
could you
is.
address?
Excuse me, I have a question. Sam, you're Alan's boss. What is your role in this? Does he have approval to say that? To indicate this is the, others,
No.
Can he sign a check?
Any purchase of this type would certainly come before council. The first question we would ask of this dollar value would, again, be checking with our attorneys in regards to how it fit with our purchasing rules as mandated by the state. So we would look into that first. After that, it would then come to council, because if it was an expense, we do have funds sitting in the SDC funds that budgetarily were budgeted to be spent this year should a purchase come up that council desired to do. However, because those were not designated through the budget process for a particular purchase, that would need to come to council in order to be utilized, and it would need to be approved on, but we would need to do, the state requires, there is the bidding requirement, but I do know there's also other things that per purchasing rules that we would need to check with the city attorney on. So we would do that first. But no, Alan does not have the authority to go by the budget to go spend this money. There is, if the council approves something in the budget that is very specific, very identified, yes, they can go out and get bids and present that, but our purchasing rules as mandated by council is anything over $5,000 for a single item purchase, regardless of being in the budget or not, must come back to council for
Okay.
review.
Councilor Barton Mullins.
I just want to be clear to you, Ken, because you keep saying this is solely for the playground equipment at Park Leone, but it's not. It is half for Park Leone and half for another park to the tune of $120,000. It is not solely for Park Leone.
The one initial purchases, what?
But you're planning on saving $7,000 by having two of them.
Correct.
And that is what you've been saying all along. So I
Yes.
just want it to be very
Sure, I
clear
would like that to be clear too.
that it is not for just one at 63,000 minus the 7,000, it is two
That's-
times.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
There's
I just want to be real clear with that.
one set of equipment is being proposed for Park Leone, and we're going to be charged $7,000 in freight. My reason for asking at this time in this manner was to double the order, which, yes, doubles the price, but eliminates the second $7,000 in shipping.
Correct, thank you.
Well, is there any other discussion? Okay, all right, we'll take the roll. I would just say beforehand, this is,
Oh, I do have,
oh,
I'm sorry.
yes, after I say something, highly unusual, and ma'am, you may sit down since we're going to be voting on this. Thank you. Because this hasn't gone through the committee process, and because there's council's received no background, I have never, in all the time I've been on council, spent on a motion over $120-some thousand with no background information, nothing in writing, no indication that, from our attorney that it's even appropriate. So it's unbelievable, and I do, I wholeheartedly, Councilor Quimby, agree that we need to have equipment. This is an unusual process. Councilor Barton Mullins.
I was going to say basically the same thing. I am all for getting the equipment back in Park Leone as soon as possible. I agree wholeheartedly that it needs to be there. The other park, I don't even know where it is, so I would have to go look and even see where it is. My concern isn't even spending the $120,000. It's the process, and it needs to go through the park committee. That is part of the process that it should go through, as well as spending some time coming back to us with all of the appropriate information and a message from our attorney on, the legalities and making sure that this is appropriate. So I just want to say I am for the equipment, and I hope that we can work this out, but not this way, not tonight.
Okay. The clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor, I had a question.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that.
I know that you had, Lisa had made a motion to table this. I think, with listening to the arguments of everything, I think maybe, we need to readdress that, and I'm all for playground equipment. I think Park Leone is very underserved. I think the other park doesn't have any playground equipment in it either. I think that it's a very important asset that we can give to our kids and our families in our community. I think that, we can gather some more information. We can have the city attorney and Samantha do their due diligence on working together to get more information from the company, the bid process and things like that. So with all of the comments that I've heard regarding this topic, I don't want to seem redundant by any means, but I would just like to make a motion that we table this until our next council meeting. So,
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? Councilor Quimby.
I don't want to do any shortcuts. I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to run around Parks Advisory Committee. I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to force something outside of staff checking on the legality of anything that we're doing, and I will withdraw my motion.
Our attorney, now what takes precedence?
Excuse me.
Can he withdraw his, Councilor Quimby withdraw his motion?
You have a motion on the table. I mean, you have a motion to table it on the floor. So you should vote on that, and then you go back to you could go back to the main. You can withdraw your motion at that point in time after they voted on his motion. But it's basically up to the council. If your council rules don't speak to this process, normally the council rules will just defer to Robert's Rules of Orders, which your council rules do not. In Robert's Rules of Order, you can just withdraw a motion if you made the motion, and you can move forward, and there will be no vote on it, but you don't subscribe to Robert's Rule of Orders. So you have two choices. You can vote on the motion that's on the floor, which is to table it, or you can just follow Councilor Quimby can withdraw his original motion, and then you can go forward from there. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, the motion is second to table. Do you wish to withdraw it and allow Councilor Quimby to withdraw his motion?
Well, I think we should just,
Or you want to vote?
I think we should vote on tabling
Okay.
it, and then you can allow him to
All right.
withdraw it, I think.
Okay, all those in favor of tabling the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion is tabled. Councilor Quimby, do you wish to withdraw the motion?
I think that the motion that just passed to table is going to address the need for legal staff to address and come to a conclusion about this, as well as anything else that needs to be done in the way of homework. So I'm not going to withdraw the motion. I'm going to stick with the tabling it.
Okay. Very good. I would like to also request that when we come back with this, we get more information on dealing with the whole plan for the park, because it seems like we're dealing in piece by piece. So, anyway, okay, very good. Anything else under different council business?
Can I just clarify that?
Yes. All right.
No, never mind.
Okay. All right. Council business and public hearings, Public Safety Advisory Committee appointment resolution, 18-2013.
Mayor, when you consider this resolution, I would like to point out that a name was inadvertently not added to the list. Please add Les Moore to the list of applicants for the Public Safety Advisory Committee. As you recall, you interviewed Mr. Moore for the Budget Committee.
Okay.
Which one is it, Public Safety Advisory?
Yes, please.
8A.
All right, any discussion? And we have one fewer,
Just a minute here.
how does that fill out now in terms of?
There's 2 positions and there are 4 applicants.
Okay, so we need to have vote. All right, Councilor Barton Mullins.
I move to appoint Michael Kirby and Maisel Dorn to the Public Safety Advisory Council.
Who?
Do I hear a second?
Oh, Maisel.
I'm sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. I don't know if she's here.
I don't think you need a second for,
Well, you also have a resolution. So if you have resolution 19.
right, I mean for which names?
So I just need to approve
Basically, what you would want to do is amend the resolution to add their names into the section 1 and section 2, and then you would vote on the resolution. So you move to approve them, and you should slot them into one of those spots on the resolution, and then the council can vote on the resolution.
Okay, let's see. I move to approve Resolution 19-2013 and add Michael Kirby and Maysel Thorne to position 3 and 5 of the Public Safety Advisory Committee.
Okay, now, do I hear a second?
Second.
Do you need, I think we open resolution, we do. Okay, no second. Counselor Prom.
I make a motion to change the resolution and nominate Michael Kirby and Les Moore.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? It passed. Next is appointment of the new Event Advisory Committee, Resolution 20-2013. And how do we have, how many
We
people?
don't have enough for all the positions. We have 4 positions, 4 people in 7 positions.
So,
to speak to that.
okay, go ahead.
On this resolution, there are 7 positions open and only 4 applicants. I just want to take into consideration what the council did before, voted to do before, was to keep it open and send out, do another process of 30 days asking for applicants. I know, I don't know if everybody has been notified or whatnot, but that's what the council did before, and that's what I would like them to consider doing again tonight.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, Councilor Arnold.
Well, I just would like to point out to the other council members that position number 4 and position number 6 are arts professional backgrounds. And in reviewing all of the applications, I didn't see any in particular that identified themselves in that category. So I think that helps limit our appointments.
Okay. Councilor Quimby.
I'm certainly not adverse to re-advertising for another 30 days, but I would like to make a motion to appoint the 4 applicants that we do have.
Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded.
To which position?
Correct. My recommendation would be that we go each position, each name and each position at a time and fill that in one at a time so that we can get the appropriate term.
All right, that sounds fair enough. Okay, clerk, please do that.
Okay, do we know, and I apologize, which positions required the,
Yes, position number 4 and position number 6.
so, for position 1 with the term date of 31/2013, you are recommending or appointing,
Okay, we go down the list one at a time and we can vote.
oh, I apologize, I thought you wanted to identify who was being appointed to what position at what term.
That makes sense to me.
Why don't we do that and then we can vote
Okay.
at each one.
Okay, so for position 1 with the term date of December 31st, 2013, you were recommending which applicant for that position do you want to vote?
Okay, Councilor Prom.
Okay, well, it seems like that is a 1-year position. I think we should start filling the positions from 7 up.
Okay,
Those are the longer terms.
okay.
And I would recommend Sherry Fox Hames for position 7.
Second?
Move in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, she passed. And next, we have a motion for,
So now we're going to go to position 5, is that correct?
Yes.
Councilor
Correct.
Crom? Okay,
Yeah.
and that has a term date of December 31st, 2015. And you're recommending who for that position?
I don't necessarily have a recommendation. Other counselors can chime in, but I can do it. Okay, we'll add Rob Pearson.
Yeah, go ahead. You have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, it's passed.
Okay, and then you have position 3 with the term date of December 31st, 2014.
I nominate Renee Delano.
Okay,
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, she passed.
And for position 2, I recommend Jeff Arnold.
and he would have a term date of December 31st, 2013.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Okay. All those in favor signify, who's the count? I think we better call the roll.
roll call?
Because I think Counselor Arnold is recusing herself. I have that correct. Do I have it correct?
Yes, I was going to do it when we called the roll, but that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that would do.
All right. So do you want me to do a roll call now, Mayor?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Counselor Prom?
Are you talking about position 2 now?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Kremeyer?
Yes.
Counselor Barton Mullins?
No.
Counselor Quimby?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
I will recuse myself from the vote.
And Mayor Weatherby?
No.
So you have
4 to,
3 yes,
3
2
yes.
no, and an abstain. So I would say it passed by majority.
okay. And that's all of it, correct, that we have?
Yes.
And then we'll open the rest of it up for another 30 days.
Yes.
Okay. Next is the Chili on the Green event, Resolution 21-2013. And Councilor Barton Mullins.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 21-2013, city endorsement of the Fairview on the Green Chili Festival.
Okay. Discussion.
Need a second.
Need a second? Okay. Discussion.
Who was
I'm
the
sorry,
second?
do we have a second?
Who was the
Who's
second?
No, she said need a
I
second.
need a second. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
We have discussion?
Are we voting on this already?
Yeah, I asked for
He
discussion.
asked for discussion. Nobody said anything.
Yeah,
I
I
think
thought
what
lots of
she said was, I
discussion.
need a second to get my notes.
Oh, I thought she said she needed a second for the motion.
No.
All right.
All right,
Go ahead. We haven't voted yet. Oh, did we?
Yeah, we voted.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, we did vote and it passed.
Keep going.
What do we do
haven't-
now?
You haven't voted yet on the
Yeah.
resolution.
We did vote.
Okay.
Paul Kremeyer, the mayor, and Lisa Barton Mullins voted yes.
Okay.
And I thought I heard Councilor Quimby also. So now, what do we do?
No, it's passed.
I mean, if you've already voted, I mean, you can ask for a reconsideration of the motion so someone can move for that. It has to be immediately after the main motion.
Okay, Councilor Quimby.
Move for reconsideration based upon the lack of proper discussion.
Okay. Is there a second?
second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, all right. Now, do you need to vote on the whole thing over again, correct?
No, it's just.
No, it's just discussion? Okay. All right, discussion.
I'll go ahead and start the discussion. So we were submitted along with this resolution several exhibits. And Exhibit B, with regard to use of Fairview on the, bullet point number 3, use Fairview on the Green, the official logo for the event. Bullet number 4, use of tents and other setup equipment, electrical spiders, and other equipment. This is all included in the resolution. Use of banners we have used in the past, and use of supplies, tasting kits, People's Choice voting cans in city storage. So what I would like to kind of propose to the council is if we accept this resolution as it is, in essence, are we ready to give away Fairview on the Green and all of its merchandise that goes along with that? Because in essence, that's what we're doing. And I would like to suggest that since we do have now a committee, that we actually allow them to decide whether or not they would like to put on the official Fairview on the Green event. I would suggest perhaps if this organization wants to put on a festival of some sort, chili in nature, I think that's great, but Fairview on the Green belongs to the city, and that's my understanding. And that's what I would like to recommend that we discuss.
Councilor Barton-Mullins.
If I remember correctly, the council wouldn't approve the Fairview on the Green to support it with any money, and the idea was that the city didn't want to put it on and support it, therefore a private group would come and do it, and that's exactly what has happened. And going with that, it's my feeling if the city has all the tasting kits and the voting cans, et cetera, just sitting somewhere and the city's not going to do anything with it, then it would be appropriate to go ahead and pass those things on to the current group that is going to be doing the Chili Festival from now on.
Okay. Two clarifications. I understand it. They have changed the logo, so there is no use of the city logo on this. And secondly, the name is non-specific. That is, there's a Fairview Farmers Market, so there's the name Fairview. When there was a group that was going to be putting on, a board that was going to be putting on Chili on the Green, it was known as I understand it, Fairview Chili on the Green, and it wasn't city-sponsored, even though it didn't occur that year. So those two I don't think are germane. Councilor Quinby.
I'm a little confused. Maybe somebody can clarify this. You said just now that the logo has been changed, or the name's been changed?
That's what I've been told, the logo, that they have redone their own logo. And maybe I can ask, yes, can you come, Barb, and explain? Am I accurate on that?
And I'm confused about this third bullet point. It says, fourth bullet point, use Fairview on the Green and the official logo for the event. Is this Fairview on the Green, or is this Chili on the Green?
It's always been Fairview on the Green with the chili cook-off. It's been called everything in the past, so, but the official title is Fairview on the Green.
And is there a different logo?
There's a logo for Friends of Fairview, which will be a citizens nonprofit group, but the festival will still be noted as Fairview on the Green with the logo. That's what is recognized by the public.
Okay.
Just one clarification point. I think the logo that the city had designed the logo, and they paid to have the logo done, but it says Fairview on the top, and then I think it says Chili on the Green.
Correct.
On the bottom. So that's technically what the logo says. And if the city had looked into trademarking it, but they did not trademark the logo at the time that they had it designed.
So do we even have to ask to use it?
It's technically, the city does own it.
Okay.
So if the city wanted to allow you to use it, I would recommend them to do it in the form of a license agreement. But I mean, you're free to make your own logo, with the Chili on the Green, lettering on it. But I just want to clarify that that's what the actual logo looks like.
I guess the question was, did they need to get permission to use the word Fairview?
The word Fairview, they wouldn't need to get permission to use the word Fairview. I think they would just, you would just need to make sure that nothing on your literature says that it's sponsored by the city of Fairview.
Oh, absolutely not. It's sponsored. It will be sponsored by the.
You'd have to be clear on who the actual sponsor was.
We have official sponsors.
Okay, Councilor Quimby.
As I've been saying all along, I am all for a chili fest in the park. I would love to see a festival in this park every weekend in the summer. For years, we just tried to get away from city funds, and I think this group is trying to do that, and I applaud that. Barbara, you just made the statement that Fairview chili on the green or chili or Fairview on the green or whatever is what the people identify with.
Correct.
And I can understand you're wanting the people to associate it with the same event they've seen here in the past. However, it's not the city event. It's not
Then you
the same
have to
event.
ask the Fairview Farmers Market to change their name.
No.
I don't think the city
You
has
don't.
ever owned
The
the
city
term
doesn't-
Fairview Farmers Market.
You're right,
There's
but we are
Fairview
free,
filling
we
station.
are free to use the name Fairview.
Sure, I agree with that.
So where's the problem?
The total name Fairview Chili on the Green or Fairview on the Green, as our legal staff just stated, is owned by the city.
It's not registered, nor is
It's
it.
not.
It's
It's
not.
not
It
owned
would
by the
not
city.
trademark
Okay,
anything.
I'm sorry I got that wrong.
All we are asking, we're coming to you as a courtesy. We have done exactly what the council has said. We have done exactly everything up to this point. So all we're asking is for your consideration to let this festival go on as normal. The city would only, the only things that we are asking for, other than the supplies that are sitting in the storage, which will eventually be thrown away, is what you've already given out. There's nothing different there. So you can either support the festival or you don't. It's that simple.
Well, I'm not sure it's quite that simple. We have a monetary value on whatever supplies. If they're truly surplus that's going to go in the garbage, I can see giving them away. How does anybody feel about that? Or are we just giving away the banners that we've had for years?
No, we're asking for use of the banners. We would
Use of
give
the
them back.
banners?
The only thing that we would not give back
Okay.
are the tasting kits
Tasting
that we would
cups, yeah,
sell.
I understand that.
We're asking for use.
Okay,
I don't have a problem
okay,
with that.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Crum?
A couple of things as we discussed as we discussed in the work session, and then I'd like to confirm here in the staff report here is that one of the things is sharing of knowledge by city staff. I want to make clear that city staff is not going to be helping you out other than sending some electronic data now and then about layouts and the question of use of tents as established by what we decided for deposits and fees for renting those. So that would be, I think we need to be modified in the amendment that you're asking for.
The BIDE asked for them,
Yes, the BIDE is not using them.
only because they went and got their own, because you guys took so long to get things ready.
The BIDE is not using
That's
them.
not true.
Okay.
We didn't vote on it.
Okay.
Anything else you guys have problems with?
I see no lights.
Your attitude.
Okay, thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion before we vote on this? Councilor Quimby?
The Friends of Fairview have brought up a interesting point of asking permission for a waiver of the $12.50 fee for each vendor, and I think that that's a fine idea. And I would like to include an amendment in the motion to make that same offer to the Bite Festival people, because we want to treat everybody the same.
Okay, is there a second on that amendment? Okay, seeing none, that fails.
Oh, I'll second that.
Okay, I'll talk slower.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Councilor Kremeyer.
I just wanted to comment on the issue that Councilor Prom brought up regarding the tents and other setup equipment. They have it listed here in Exhibit B, but actually in the resolution itself, if we just go ahead and pass it as stated, it doesn't address it doesn't address the use of the city tents and fencing and other equipment, so.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, it does, I didn't see it right here. It doesn't specify what it is, it just says city event equipment with security deposits.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we vote on the amendment? Councilor Barton Mullins.
Well, I just want to say about the tents and the fencing and whatnot, they are, as we discussed earlier, they are putting a deposit down. You know, if nothing, if the call comes back perfectly fine, I think they should get their deposit back. I don't really see that a fee needs to be charged for that.
All right. Anything else before we vote on the amendment?
Can I hear the amendment again?
Yes, please.
The amendment is to go back to the Bite of East County Committee and offer them the same waiver of $12.50 per individual participant that we're offering in this resolution.
Okay. All right. We're ready to vote. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? It's passed. Now for the main motion. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of the main motion to approve the chili on the green signify by saying aye.
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 All right. All those opposed say aye. Nay. So, it is passed unanimously.
You are welcome.
All right. Next is the street closing enforcement ordinance 3-2013, second reading. The clerk, please read the title.
An ordinance of the Fairview City Council amending Chapter 10.05 and 10.25 of the Fairview Municipal Code concerning street closures and no parking regulations and declaring an emergency.
All right, is there any further staff report? All right, hearing none. Council, any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, seeing none, the public hearing is open. All those who wish to speak in favor of this, please come forward, give their name. Seeing none, all those who oppose this motion, please come forward, give your name and address. Seeing none, anyone who wishes to speak in regard to this motion at all? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And since there is no one for council to ask questions of, I will hear a motion. There's a motion to approve this.
Move to approve ordinance number 3-2013, amending chapter 10.05 and 10.25 of the Fairview Municipal Code concerning street closures and no parking regulations. Do I need to say it's a second reading?
And declaring an emergency.
Oh, I don't have that on here.
Oh,
Huh, I don't have that on mine.
you should have the white page right after the blue one.
Regulations and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
All right, is there any council discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is passed unanimously. Very good. The next is the Fairview Dock Standard, ordinance 1-2013, first reading. A second, I'll get this.
Did you want me to read it by title, Mayor?
Please, thank you.
An ordinance of the Fairview City Code, an ordinance of the Fairview City Council amending Fairview Municipal Code chapters 19.106 Natural Resource Regulations and 19.490 Miscellaneous Permits to regulate and require Fairview Lake Dock permits.
Okay, staff. And welcome, Erica.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. All right. So the proposed amendments before you tonight, revise the permitting process and the standards for the construction and design of docks on Fairview Lake. A revised version of the ordinance is up at your seats, and we'll make sure to revise. It's just clerical revisions at this point, so we'll make sure to get those revisions included in the ordinance for the second reading. So just a bit of background on these proposed amendments. They're based on direction for Planning Commission work sessions from back in 2011. Some of the primary concerns that brought these proposed amendments to the regulations up were how dock construction could impact the ability of boaters to use and navigate the lake, and also to regulate docks separately from natural resource and riparian buffer standards, because the placement of docks isn't technically in the riparian buffer or natural resource area. So Planning Commission gave staff direction to move forward with developing specific dock standards outside of the natural resource section of the code. On November 8, 2011, Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval for ordinance. At that time, it had a different ordinance, but tonight it comes before you as Ordinance 1/2013 to the City Council. The reason that we're addressing this again in 2013 is City Council put the adoption hearing on hold pending resolution due to a public inquiry received at the 2011 hearing. We had a property owner inquire if their 1999 approval authorizing construction of a boathouse was still valid. So City went to seek advice from the City Attorney, who concluded that because substantial construction had not taken place, that the approval was null and void, and so that the City Council determined to put the adoption hearing on hold and allow that applicant to submit a new application. It was for a boathouse. And so on March 26, Planning Commission approved that land use application for the boathouse with a 10-year approval time limit. Just a little bit of background. Existing conditions, there are currently 54 docks on Fairview Lake, and that's 55% of the properties. And dock length ranges from approximately 25 to 35 feet. Current regulations for docks, they're currently regulated under our natural resource regulations. All docks require a natural resource permit, and no more than 20% of the width of the buffer may be occupied by a structure. And currently there's no limit on the length of the docks, and that was one of the concerns the Planning Commission had, that there was no length restriction, and therefore a construction of a dock could interrupt the public's ability to use the lake. It could lead to privatization of parts of the lake. So the proposed amendments coming to you before you tonight will help to clarify the regulations and will allow the application for a dock to be easier, and just because regulations will be made clearer. And it also establishes a new section in the miscellaneous permit section of the Development Code specifically for Fairview Lake docks. So I'm just going to go briefly through what the proposed regulations are. Total width of the docks may not exceed 20% of the width of the property at the water's edge. So there's no change to the current regulation, other than that applicants would be entitled to a minimum dock width of 10 feet. And this is to address property owners that have a pie-shaped lot, so their frontage on the lake may be quite small, so this entitles them to at least 10 feet width of a dock. Total length of the dock may not exceed 35 feet. This number was come to based on existing conditions of docks and what seems to be standard of existing docks on the lake. And then docks may not extend into Fairview Lake more than 35 feet. And there's a distinction between those two, which we'll clarify with some figures that will be placed within the code. And so this is standards for how to measure docks. So as you'll see, L1 is total length of the dock versus L2, which is length of the dock, which extends into Fairview Lake. So Planning Commission felt that it was important to distinguish between those two when using that method to measure the length of the dock. One dock per lot would be allowed. If less than 32 square feet, the shoreline attachment would not require a natural resource permit. So that would include, but it's not limited to concrete pads or wooden platforms. So whatever mechanism is used for that dock should be anchored to the shore. Materials that would be prohibited include styrofoam, beadboard, wood docks with chemical treatments, and this would be so as not to allow materials that could potentially break down and contaminate the water of the lake. Accessory structures, attachment of accessory structures such as boathouses and canopies would be prohibited on any portion of the dock. However, boat lifts would be permitted, but would be required to be included with the total width and length calculations for the dock on the application.
Can I ask you just a question on that really quick,
Sure.
if you don't mind? On the boat lifts, can they have like a canopy over the top of the boat lift so when they pull their boat up in it, it can be protected?
I believe so. I believe that was the intention of the Planning Commission. We had looked at some pictures of various boat docks, and I think some of the standard boat docks do have those built-in canopies the boat lifts, on the boat lifts.
Okay, thank you.
So currently a permit is required to construct a dock on Fairview Lake. It's currently go through the natural resource permit process, which has a $300 fee. And so the amendments tonight would propose, and the recommendation from the Planning Commission was to develop a specific Fairview Lake dock permit. It would go through a typical process, City of Fairview application form, and submissions requirements would include a detailed narrative demonstrating compliance with the standards, a scaled site plan, and then an application fee is set forth by resolution, which will be coming before council, I believe, next month. Additional permits may be required with the dock permit if the alterations in the riparian buffer are proposed in association with the dock construction. For example, a path, vegetation removal, erosion control measures, or structure. So if an applicant wanted to do a riprap application to help secure the lakefront area and the shore along with their dock, they would submit 2 permits to the city, one for a natural resource permit and one for a dock permit. However, no natural resource permit is required if the shoreline attachment mechanism is less than 32 square feet. Shared docks are currently allowed under the natural resource regulations, and they would continue to be permitted, and they'd be subject to all approval criteria for individual docks. So if multiple property owners wanted to come together and build a larger dock that they would all share, the maximum width would be 20% of the total width of all the contiguous properties adjacent to the lake that the shared dock would serve. Regarding non-conforming docks, this ordinance would not apply to docks that were lawfully established or if there was a permit approved prior to the effective date of this ordinance. An application for a permit to alter, expand, or otherwise modify any existing dock after the effective date of this ordinance would be subject to the provisions of the new ordinance. However, normal maintenance repair on docks is permitted and would not impact the non-conforming status. So just to give a summary, the impacts of these amendments, they would apply to all properties adjacent to Fairview Lake. They provide more specific standards for docks construction and placement. They would create a separate permit process for docks on Fairview Lake, and they would apply only to new docks and modifications to existing docks. Public involvement was required as this was a land use process. So a letter was sent initially when we were going through work session process with Planning Commission to all affected residents seeking feedback. We held a meeting at City Hall outside of the public hearing process to get feedback from residents on some of our proposed changes to the regulations. We had 4 property owners attend the meeting, and they all gave really good feedback, which contributed to the creation of some of these amendments. All of our public notice requirements were met, including a Measure 56 notice and mailed and published notices of the public hearing. And the Planning Commission public hearing was held on November 8th, 2011, at which Planning Commission did forward a recommendation for the approval of the ordinance. Applicable criteria, amendments are consistent with the Fairview Municipal Code and Comprehensive Plan, and they comply with statewide planning goals. So with that, staff respectfully recommends that City Council approve Ordinance 1, 2013.
Okay, any questions of staff on this ordinance? Okay, Erica, I think that's
Thank you.
good. Thank you very, very much. Okay, if there's no questions, then this will then be voted on in Part 2 in the next meeting. And the last thing is a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moving in second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it is passed. We are adjourned.
There it is. Enter the bell.